Hi, and welcome to Settlyd. So, we've done a number of individual training videos, but one of the things we've also been doing as well is just one comprehensive overview and presentation of all the components of Settlyd that would allow you in one session to watch everything and learn how to manage and work with Settlyd. That's what I'm going to do today. Now, I'm working out of my home today, and there may be some background noise, and if you hear anything, cars going, lawnmowers, dogs barking, we're going to just go on through and get stuff done, because the main goal is to show you around Settlyd and show you how to use the website. So we're going to operate under some general assumptions, and that is that everyone signed up and has an account. If for some reason you have not, what you can do is you can go to settlyd.com, and on the settlyd.com website, what you're going to be able to do is learn some more about the software. As well, you'll be able to get started for free. Videos, pricing plans are broken out. We have blogs as well, but you can simply, by getting started for free, or this get registered button will take you to a sign up page. Important thing here is you'll make a username that'll be, for instance, this username that I'm using on this account is Sean. My name is settlyd.com. So whatever you use, that'll be the site that you would continue to go to. But now let's go back over to Settlyd and let's talk about what we do. When you log onto the site, you'll be taken to this page, and one of the abilities that you have is to be able to do under Settlyd. You can do financial declarations, you can do child support calculations, you can do net available income analysis for determining different scenarios, looking at child support and alimony and information from related to income and the like. You can also do asset division analysis. Now, for each of these, in order to do this, you have to set up a client. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a client from start. You'll be taken to this page, and let's just say that the client is Jenny client. Let's say that Jenny lives in Charleston County in the 9th Judicial Circuit, and Billy husband is the party on the other side, and let's say that the docket number is 2016 DR 10 ABC. The address is 123 Main Street. She is 39 years old. She is a nurse. I'm going to show you something here in a second for MUSC, and that is on, I think it's on B Street. And her email is going to be settledtest@gmail.com. Now, I know everyone's saying you spelled nurse wrong, and I just wanted to show you how you can edit this. So you create the client, and you'll be taken over to a page that will allow you to review everything. And oh, I misspelled nurse, so let's go back up here and correct it. From the edit page, you can edit anything that need be. Now, let's go over to our Manage Documents page, and this is where you can look at Jenny's file and all the information you can do with things. Now, you can access this area from a couple places. You have a Manage Client section, and you can find that by going from your dashboard to Manage Client and Documents, and you'll be taken here, and your clients will be in sequentially. You've just created Jenny's file, and you can access her information by going to the blue button here that will take you to her page with everything on it. Or what you could do is to bypass this page. You can simply come here and pull down and access any of the individual components we have. You can use these buttons to view her profile, to edit her profile as we did just a moment before. You can delete her profile, or you can generate a financial form access. I'm going to show you that first. So we're going to do it by way of this. We're going to look at the financial declaration first. And this is where you will come in and set up a client's financial declaration. And you simply click on the category that you want to use. And if you look, you will see that the categories here that are highlighted are the same things we've seen and have used for years on our financial declarations. If you receive any more income or at any time that you have on the financial declaration, if you need to add anything, you simply do that. Payroll deductions, monthly expenses, and it goes on down through all of the categories that you would normally have. Now, what we have done is we've incorporated into Settlyd help information to where if there's any area that there's a question mark noted, you can simply scroll over that question mark, and it's going to give you practice tips. So you'll see that throughout the site. Now, what you can do is you can come down and let's just say, for instance, that you enter something here. When you enter something, the residential rent payment is $1,200 a month. You would simply come down and you would press save, and it saves it onto our cloud server. So when you have been on another section here and you move to your monthly section, there it is. And you simply go through, scroll through, and fill all the information in. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to open up a manage client page here, and I'm going to go back to this button right here, this little geared link button here. If we press this, what we will get is a email information to where you will email to the client at her email address that's been entered, a form email. So we're going to go ahead and press email. Email's been sent to the client, and now we're going to pretend we're the client for a minute. So we have the email address here, or the email inbox here. And when we go to that email, it's going to load the client's email. We're going to see there is an email entitled Financial Declaration Form Access. So if we click on that, the client's going to get an overview email that gives detailed information about this being a link for her to securely access and fill out a financial declaration in standard form for the courts. You need to have financial information handy. There's a list of information that we think would be helpful. And then what she is going to do is she is going to click on this link, and we're going to look. Her name is Jenny Client 044. That's the username that she's been given. So we're going to go and we're going to type in Jenny Client 044, and I copied the password a few moments ago. So we're going to sign in, and she's going to again get an overview. I'm her lawyer, information about her to check, and then we're going to begin. And what we're going to have, she's going to have the ability to do is enter in her financial information. And let's say that she also does $500 a month from, I don't know, photography. When a client enters in everything, it'll take the total of the incomes and give you per section, or total of any section, give you that. Client will save. It'll be saved on the servers. And then let's just say that the federal income tax is $760 and $350 for the state. FICA is $210, and the health and dental insurance is $200 and $150. And there's a $200 voluntary retirement contribution. So you'll see that the deductions are $1,870. We're going to save that. Notes on here so the client will see you have to save everything before you move to the next page. Now, let's say that this is where we had put in earlier the $1,200. Well, let's say that in fact that's not a residential rent, but that's a mortgage payment. And we're going to enter in just some random other things here to show you how this is going to work and what it'll look like. Let's see, work-related daycare is $700, car payment $600, costs $220 a month. Let's see, property taxes on the residents are $1,000 a year. $200 a month, expenses there, $100 for clothing, $120 for clothing, and let's see, children's incidentals, let's call those $200. $100 for the school stuff, $250 for entertainment, and then just $100. So we have $48.58 in expenses. We'll press save. So now let's go back up here and let's jump over to, and let's say, and I'm just jumping around, they can go through each section, but let's just say that she has some cameras that are on her name, and let's just say that this was acquired in April of 2000, and it was a gift, and the market value is $2,500. So we'll save that. And then let's see what's next. Let's say that she's got Bank of America in a joint account. Let's say that there's a checking account with $5,500, and there's also a SC Federal Credit Union that is client's name only, and it is a savings account, and there's $10,000 in that. Let's save that, and let's look at one more category here. How about real estate? So they own a house, and let's say that the house is 123 Main Street, and it's jointly titled, and let's say it is worth $550, and there's a $389 mortgage on it, so it nets due to $161. Let's save that, and that's it. So let's say that we've got everything squared away. The client would now log out. We'll keep that up for a minute. And then let's go back over to Settlyd. Now, the client saved everything, and we want to come look at our financial declaration. So let's refresh the screen. I haven't saved anything there, but let's go ahead and refresh here. And if you notice, what we get now are a number of gold bars, which means that when we come to gross income, everything that the client entered is there. We'll review it and we'll confirm that it's saved. We'll go to payroll deductions, and yep, that looks okay. Let's say we save that. All right, we'll go to the next section, and say after you talk with a client, you realize that they didn't put some of the escrow payments in here, actually $1,350, so we want to put that on there. And that after you talked things through, you realized that really it was probably more like $250 for the expenses there, and you did not consider pet expenses that are $125 a month. So we put all that, we approve and save it. Let's look at these other ones down here. Say the marital property is fine. Let's go to the cash and financial accounts, and let's say that after talking to the client, you realize that there is at home, jointly titled, there is some cash, and they keep a cash account, just cash lying around the house of $3,500, so you save that. And then you go down and you look at the real estate, and everything's okay there, so you approve and save it. Now, what we do here is once this is done, what I tell folks to do is you come back to this page where you had the client have the access, and you press this button to stop access. It'll ask you if you want to change the external access status. You press yes. And then what's going to happen there is the client can no longer get in, which means you don't have to worry about coming back on and seeing that. Let me show you what could happen. If you reactivate the access or don't turn it off, then what you have is you have the client who maybe is going, you know what, the information that I entered, the client says, you know, let me go back and change that. I really don't think I'm making $5,600 a month. I think I make $5,000, even though we had looked at it. So I'm gonna save that. And then when you come back over to the financial declaration, you go to work on it next time and you bring it up, it says pending for approval, and you come in and, you know, what has been changed here. So we want to make sure that we leave this at $5,600, And we want to make sure that the $500 a month for the photography is squared away on there. Approve and save that. So what you do is you come over here and you stop the client's access, and that way they can't get back on to change anything after they do it the one time, and at no point in time could they come back through and pick up any information from anywhere else onto the site. They couldn't access anything else. So what you have here is you've got your financial declaration, and let's just say there's a few other things. Let's look at some of this other information down here. We saw that she has a voluntary retirement account. Let's say that's a 401k, and it's in the client's name, and it is a 401k. And let's say that she's been working there and has $155,000, no loan against it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click include this on the asset division sheet. Save this. Let's go on to the next section. No publicly held investments. The real estate, these numbers all check out. We're going to click this include on the asset division sheet. Let's move here, and let's just say that there are two cars. Let's say there's a car that's jointly owned, jointly titled, and it was marital to buy it. The loan payment's $5. I think we said the loan payment was $600 if I remember correctly. Let's say it's $16,000, and there's an outstanding loan of $10,050. Nets you the value there. Let's put that on the asset division sheet, and let's add one more. Let's say there's another car that's jointly titled, and it was marital. And let's say that there is no monthly loan payment, and $7,000 and no loans. So $7,000. We'll put that on the asset division sheet too. No business, no goodwills, and let's just kind of leave it at that. So now what we have is we have all of the information done here on the financial declaration. And what we can do is we can press generate a PDF. Have the ability to put confidentiality notice on there. I'll show you what that looks like. So it will generate a PDF captioned in the form with all the information that you filled out. It has the confidentiality language on here, the caption information, then it includes everything that is squared away that you have put in, totals everything out, and then when you come down here you see all of this information. Since it's more than 300,000, it categorizes out already, and it blows everything out from the page, and it gives you the signature page here at the end. So that's your financial declaration. We're going to keep that up for a bit. So now let's move over and let's talk about some more of the features that Settlyd has. In particular, let's look at the child support page. So again, under our Jenny client, we can either go to this button to access, or we can come here and we can pull up child support. Now the way child support is set up is when you come up to this page, you're going to have nothing entered here. And what you have to do is you have to add a new child support sheet set, because what we have the ability to do is save multiple versions of child support sheets that allow you to work different scenarios. No longer do you have to do a calculation, save the PDF, or print it out, scan it, and save it. What you can do is this: start a sheet. And let's say we're going to do this. This is going to be sole custody. Mom with both sources earnings, because we know she has her $5,600 and her $500. So we're going to put that through here, and then we have that. We have the version, and we have the notes and the date it was created. So we're going to open up our worksheets, and we have 4 different calculators we can use here: A, B, C, and an excess calculator. We'll talk about this one in a moment. A, sole custody. B, split custody. We don't use it a lot, but it's here if you need it. And worksheet C. What we've done is we've created a very clean workflow space that simply has fill in the blanks. We have 2 children that Jenny client has custody of. Let's say that Jenny, we know she makes $6,100 a month. And let's say that husband is a nurse, is a doctor, and he makes, I don't know, for purposes now, let's say $22,000 a year. Under this scenario, Jenny's probably going to get some alimony. So let's just go ahead and give her, I'm just going to arbitrarily say $2,000 a month. That's no commentary on whether this case supports it or not, but we need to put it there. It will automatically fill in that $2,000 is being paid and the client's receiving it. Let's say no other support, no other children. I think we put down that the daycare was $750 a month, and mom was paying work-related or health insurance. Once you check that out, we can just come right back over. And if you note here, we're working on the child support sheet A, but we've kept this tab open, financial declaration, so we can just come back and hit this. We can come up to the monthly expenses, and we can scroll down and we can see work-related daycare was $700, and then we know that from a payroll deduction, $150 for the children. So we come back over here and correct this to $700, and she's paying $150. So now we have everything in. What we now do is we come down here and press calculate, and it's going to show the child support with the 5%, monthly, bi-monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, and weekly. And it'll show the income percentage breakdown. Now, once that is done, you can come here and you can press PDF, and we'll leave the confidentiality language off this time. And you have a caption form that shows all of the income, the combined income, what the alimony is and who's paying it, all the others with the income percentage and the breakdown for the number of children that are supported and the payment options. Now, let's save this. So we're going to save this, and it's going to ask us if it wants us to put everything over to worksheet C, and let's go ahead and say yes. So we'll do that. We're going to go over to this, and now we can pop over to worksheet C. Everything is saved. The only thing that it will not save is the number of overnights, because on worksheet A, again, so we do sole custody, worksheet C, shared custody. So let's say we're going to do a situation here to where the opposing party has 119 nights. So when we tab that through, it automatically does the calculations. Everything else stays the same. We come down here and we press calculate, and there it is, the amounts that you would have. We can save this. It'll ask us if we want to put the information back over to A. We'll say yes. Now, when we go back to A, we will not have the custodial arrangement because they've been put on sheet. Now, let's go back to the manage the child support sheets. So what we're going to do here for this client is we're going to add another sheet. And we are going to, actually I just noticed that, now let's add another sheet, and we're going to say sole custody. And mom one job. So let's go ahead and save this. And then with one job, let's come back up here, and we're going to have mom having custody of 2 children. Instead of 61, we'll say 5,600. I think we said dad was making 22,000, and he was paying $2,000 a month alimony. We knew that the health insurance was $150, and the daycare was $700. So we come down here, we press calculate, and we get this child support number. We'll go ahead and work at C, and it's saved. So now when we go back to our sheets, we can say, well, is she going to be working 2 jobs? Is she going to be working 1 job? And we can pull the child support up for the appropriate one. And again, everything saves in the cloud, and you can do the PDFs. Now, let's talk about the excess calculator a minute. There is no set formula for doing excess calculation in South Carolina. The guidelines contemplated doing it on a case-by-case basis. What we've done is we've developed some algorithms that do some analysis, a lot of analysis, based off of the existing child support guidelines. And let me show you how it works. So say the client has custody of 2 children, and we're going to give her her full income of $6,100. But let's say that dad is a, top of the game, whatever surgeon, doctor, physician, specialist that he does, and he makes, $2 million a year. So we're going to give him $160,000. Well, let's start out and let's just say he makes $600,000 a year. Not unusual for some physicians. So that's $50,000. First, let's do this. If we come back over to this sheet and we say that Dad makes $50,000 and we do a calculation, it's going to tell us that ain't going to work because the guidelines will only consider $750,000 to $30,000. Okay, that's fine. Again, that's what the excess is here for. So we're going to go over and we're on the excess calculator for the client having 2 children making $5,600 a month and Dad's making $50,000. We know that the work-related daycare is $750 a month, and we know the children's health insurance is $150 a month. So we have 2 models that we do. One is based on the guidelines that if child support at a combined of $25,000 a month was X at $55,600, it would be consistent. Then there is a capped income model that takes into consideration when you move from one step in the guidelines. In other words, the percentage change in child support payable at the $15,000 level to $20,000, it's going to be a greater increase between 15 to 20 than it will be from 20 to 25 because the child support amount as the income goes up starts to level. So 2 scenarios. You press calculate, and under this it will give you 2 ranges based on that. One just a continuously increasing model, and one where the income caps out. Now, again, case-by-case basis for the guidelines, but these algorithms are based off an analysis of the guidelines to give practitioners some guidance as to possible ranges. Now, let's say that the client makes not $600,000 a year, but $1.2 million a year, which is $100,000 a month. And again, when you come down and you calculate, it's going to give you that range to put the numbers in. And of course, you can save this, and when you come back to it, it'll be there. When you go to print it out, it gives you the option of printing both on a PDF showing both scenarios, or when you have options on Settlyd, you can print one or both. And let's just say that we print the flattening one here without. It will give you the information, the combined income, the number of children, and it'll give you the breakdown on what Settlyd will return. So again, this is a tool that's designed to allow practitioners to very quickly analyze cases where parties have income that exceeds the South Carolina guidelines to get some guidance on what the child support would be. All right. So let's go ahead and close that, and we're going to come back over and we can close this now. Let's go back over to our main page, and let's go to the Manage Documents page. We talked about financial declaration and child support. Let's look at the net available income calculator, because this is likely even at some of the incomes we've been using, it's likely a alimony case. So let's put some income figures in here. We know that Jenny makes $6,100. I'm going to put that on both of them here. And we know that Billy, husband, we're going to say he makes $22,000. And $22,000. So the first thing it does is it gives us the incomes that each have here. And let's say that both of these folks at this stage are filing single. Or let's say that she's going to do the married filing separately in both of these scenarios. All right, so we had already made one scenario where, and I guess let's do this. Let's pull up a new link here, and let's come over here and let's pull up child support, and we're going to pull up these worksheets here. And in this scenario, we had it with mom having custody, and the child support was $2,463. So we're going to come down here and on the net available income, and we're going to say $2,463. Mom's the payee and dad's the payor of $2,463. And I think for that scenario, we had said mom was going to get $2,000 a month alimony, and dad's just paying $2,000 a month alimony. Let's say they do standard deductions. And let's say that mom claims herself with the 2 children and dad just claims himself. So now let's go over and let's come back over to the child support worksheet. And let's drop in $4,500 a month alimony. And that child support's $2,156. So let's come back over here and put in $2,156 with mom as the payee. And that mom is the payee of $4,500 on the alimony and $4,500 here. And again, we've got the filing statuses. We'll do the 3 and the 1. So now what are we doing? We come down here and we press calculate, and then we press calculate here. And what we're able to see is what available income looks like at different levels. So what we can do is we can see that at $2,000 a month alimony on $2,463 child support, here's our adjusted gross income on monthly and annual, the taxable income, the taxes owed, and the available income. And looking at this, mom is going to have about $6,200 a month. The dad's $1,474 to $175. If you come over here and you increase that alimony to $4,500 a month on that child support, then it's virtually going to be equal. And again, that's not a statement to say that, you know, equalization is the way that you go here. So maybe you come back over here and you say, well, what does it look like at, I don't know, let's say $3,750 for the alimony. You press calculate, $2,248. So let's come back over here and put in $2,248. $2,248. We had dropped this to $3,750 and $3,750 because we know at $4,000 that's about equal. So if I press calculate here, you know, you're getting beyond the equalization there. You know, if you come back to your financial declaration that you had over here, you're looking down, and her expenses that she has are about $5,283 a month. So when you start to weave all of this together, that's how you can use the conjunction of the financial declaration, the child support calculator, and the net available income analysis to start determining what that range of income would be, monthly available net income, available income would be with the different alimony and child support levels. You can print out PDFs. If you wanted to print both options, say for mediation, you print it out and it gives the side-by-side of all the filing statuses and everything and breaks it down for you. If you said, hey, you know, instead of doing that, I think that this is the arrangement I want, so I want to show that, let's say, to the court, so I'm going to print this out here, and we do not want the confidentiality language, and boom, there it is that shows how you get to these numbers that will allow the court to have some foundation and basis for analyzing that. So that's the net available income analysis. And you can save this. So I'm sorry, we had popped over to the child support worksheet. So you can come back over here to the net available income analysis, and you can save both of these. And when you come back to it later, your calculations will be there so you can pick up. All right, so I'll show you this one other component, which is one of my favorites. And again, I'm going to show you how you can access it again from here. You go over to the child support sheet, and you hit the asset division analysis. Now, I want to come back to this child support sheet, and what we're going to do here is we're going to pull up the financial declaration. So, now, keep in mind, we have not looked at this asset division analysis sheet yet, but when you get here, you see that there's stuff that is already entered. The real estate, the vehicles are listed, you know, all of this stuff is squared away here. So what we do is we come over and we look at, you know, these vehicles here. For instance, we had marked this blue button. We had, when we entered the real estate, we hit this blue button. And anytime you tell Settlyd to include it on the asset division sheet, it automatically pulls it over and squares it away here and lays everything out in this direction, if you will. So let's go back and let's do a couple things here. Let's give these folks a credit card debt. So let's say they have a Visa, ending 1234, and let's say there's $5,000 on it. Let's calculate that and put it in the mix. All right, now let's go down here. We're going to come up here. We'll go save it. It's going to ask me if I want to put it on the financial declaration. So I'm going to say yes. And when I come back to my financial declaration, again, reading these at the top, we're showing here that we can just jump back over to this. If I come to the debts, credit card and consumer debts, what we'll be able to do is we'll see that you can come through and bounce stuff back and forth. For instance, let's get back over here and let's make sure this is saved. And we come back to the financial sheet, declaration sheet. Let's refresh this and pull that through. And then we come to the credit card and the installments. There's your Visa. Now, yeah, it may have to enter, marital expenses. And then we want to make sure that it stays on the sheet. We'll save it here to make sure everything's saved on the financial declaration. But let's say that, for instance, we decide that the parties actually have another home that is 456 First Street, and it's a jointly titled property that's got a value of $250,000, and it's got a $100,000 mortgage on there. We're going to include that on the asset division sheet. When we come back to the asset division sheet, and again we reload it, make sure you reload, it's going to pop up here as far as it goes, and it'll show the breakdown. And you can come back and you can move stuff around. We've got business, enterprise, and goodwill, and the non-maritals. Like, for instance, on this, I think we had put some non-marital property on here. Let me check. Yeah, the non-marital property, and let's go ahead and include that on the asset division sheet just by checking the box. Come back up here and we'll refresh this. And so what we have down here now is we have non-marital that is squared away here, $2,500 value. So let's talk about how we can use this page while we're here. Moving in a vertical fashion, you have the ability to tell the program to do any kind of analysis that you want. So for instance, if you wanted to do a 50-50 just vertically, you look here and there's 468 in the estate equity wise, and that would come out to 234, 475 each. If you did a 55-45 division, it's going to show you the 55-45, and it's going to give you the amount to equalize on that split. And you can of course come back in, and I mean, if for some reason you wanted to do 52-48, you calculate that, and it's going to simply change those numbers. Now, one of the things that we realize is that, for instance, you don't always get a straight 50-50. Like, for instance, what we have here is we have these debts. Let's just say, the first thing we want to make sure we do is these debts. Let's say that you've got the Visa. Let's edit this one, and let's make this a separate Visa. 45667, and save that. And I'm going to apply those changes to the financial declaration. And let's just say that the client will keep the first debt. So what we do is we check this box by the debt, and we come down here and say we're going to assign that to the client. We apply the changes, so it shifts 5,000 over to the client's column. Now, we still got a 50-50 division on this debt, and it shows us down here that we need 2,500 to equalize. So what we're going to do is we're going to unclick this, we're going to click this one, click change asset, and we're going to give that to the opposing party. All right, so now we've given the client this Visa, and we've given the opposing party the other Visa. So we've maintained our 50-50 division, but we started moving the assets around. Now, let's just say, for instance, in this, that the client wants to keep 100% of her retirement, wants to do a 50-50 division as best can on everything else, but wants to keep the retirement. So it's $155,000. So we got to find $77,500 to move over. Well, first thing we'll do is we're going to give the opposing party this house. We'll assign that to the opposing party. Okay, so let's calculate that and see what that looks like. So when we come down here to the bottom, and look, we're $2,500 apart, and we know that we need to shift $2,500 there. So what can we do? Let's come here and let's get $2,500 of this $3,500 over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to the change division, and instead of assigning to the client or the opposing party, we're going to click the unique asset division. We're going to pick dollars. And what we're going to do is we need to shift $2,500 there. So we're going to say the client gets $1,000 and the opposing party gets $6,000. Let's apply those changes. And then if you look down here, we're equalized now. And we have done vertically 50-50, but horizontally we've come back in and tweaked the debts. We've given the client their 401k. We've adjusted on some of the cash here to equalize also by giving the opposing party this house. I'm taking these checks out just so they don't get changed again. Now, a couple other things you can do. How do we know this house is worth $550,000? Well, we know that was because it was a June 2016 appraisal. All right, well, how do we know that this one's $250,000? Well, because that was a June 2016 agreed upon Zillow. All right. Now, if you notice, whenever we add any of these notes here, this blue icon will appear. And if you roll over, it'll show you what the notes are. Now, if you're at a mediation, if someone got someone looking over your shoulder, just don't roll over the blue icon if there's something there you don't want them to see. Let's say the retirement, let's just say this was based on a date of separation statement. All right, so again, what you do is you have all of this information in. Now, put all that in. Let's come down here and let's go ahead and make sure that we have this in the clients column. Because we don't know whose it is from a premarital standpoint, if there's any other premarital property. What you're able to see here is the division of the marital estate is at 50-50, and the client is getting slightly more, $2,500 more, just because they have their non-marital property. Now, let's look at the PDF. As before, what you can do here is you can print both options or an individual option. We're just going to print A. We are not going to do the confidentiality language, but we're going to include the notes that we entered. So we press proceed, and you're going to get a PDF ready to be filed at court as an exhibit if need be, showing the fair market value, the debt, the equity, and the 50-50 division. Now, if you note here, the D, the OP, the D, the 14, the 86, it's showing how you've traffic copped that and moved it around. And what it does is it gives a description down here of what each is. But what it also does is anywhere that you had added in your notes, like for instance on your real estate, you know that, boom, everything is laid out here that you had put in for your notes, ready to be filed. So that is the asset division and how it is used. Those are the primary four documents, the four components that we have of Settlyd: financial declaration, child support, net available income, and asset division analysis. Now, let's talk about just some general things as far as it goes. On Settlyd, if you notice this turquoise little number up here, if there's ever any emails that are sent out system-wide, that'll note that you have something in your inbox. On your dashboard, anytime there are updates, they'll notice them here, and you'll have a link to the tutorial section. You can also get to the tutorial section by coming through to tutorial, and you'll be able to see practice tips that we may have done related to the software done by way of video. You'll be able to see, for instance, all of these videos that have previously been shot. Upgrades to the system. Anytime we do something there, we'll add a video about that. This video that we're shooting today is going to end up being, or the one that I'm recording today is going to be in the overview tutorials. What you can also do is we have a feature on Settlyd now called Manage Staff Accounts. And this account that I'm using is a 10-person account, and I've added 2 users. What you're able to do is it'll show you on this page how many users you can add. And let's do this for a moment. On your profile, this will be the information about you as the individual user that you have set up. You can also have account information and your membership information here as well. And what you can do here is look at the different levels of use to up to 2 users, up to 5, up to 10 users. And when you come down to your manage staff accounts, at the level you are, you can add different staff accounts. So if you want to add someone else that is going to be able to access all the common information, you'd enter their name, their last name, any information here, their email, and a unique password for them, which is going to allow them to access your master account. And you can come down here and you can pick what you want them to be able to access. For instance, for this user, what I have here is they can access and do everything on financial declarations, child support, but they cannot access net available income or asset analysis, but they can set up new clients. For the other person that we have here, we have them set up, we have full access set up for them. So what you'd be able to do is, as you add staff members out of the appropriate level you have for your account, you'd simply come in and lay out what they would have there. That's it. That is really a comprehensive overview of the Settlyd software. If you ever have any questions, we also have frequently asked questions that you can come on and you can look at different questions that have been laid out and set up for Settlyd. If there's anything ever that you need otherwise answered, you can always send us an email at support@settlyd.com. So thank you so much for using Settlyd. Hope this tutorial has been beneficial, and check back regularly for more information. Have a great day.